And it's 5 o'clock in the UK because of the changing of the clocks. So the clocks have gone back in the UK today, but for everybody else, it hasn't changed yet. So that's why, if you are in the UK, we have come online a little bit earlier than usual. Okay, so welcome to Spiritual Sundays with myself, Mike Warwick, and
me, Mason Christian.
we have a special guest today who's Alister, who Jeremy's going to introduce.
There we go.
And there we go, Alister's unmuted as well. So if you've never been to a Spiritual Sundays before, it's a weekly thing that goes live out onto YouTube, and also there's also a private discussion group afterwards. We'll tell you how you can join that later. And what we do is we meditate, and we also look at life from a spiritual point of view. So yeah, very pleased to have a guest. And Jeremy, would you like to introduce Alister for us?
Sure. Alister's been a friend of mine for quite some time, and Alister has a lot of insights into life, and he's been coaching people for several years. And yeah, Alister.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation to today's Sacred Sundays. I really appreciate the opportunity. I've been actually isolating myself for the last 10 years, and so this is my first time coming out after a very long time. I've experienced quite a number of different types of traumatic events over the years that compounded without my knowledge. I thought I was handling everything well in my life since I was very athletic, high achievement, very, very proactive individual. But something happened that changed my entire life in 2017. I was living in Revelstoke, owning and operating a new concept of a Vietnamese steakhouse, and also entering fatherhood. I had a daughter that was 3 years old, and I was enjoying Revy life. And I ended up having my first non-impact concussion from a compression. And I didn't realize I had a concussion, but I knew that something was off. So I took a little bit of time off. And when I returned to work, I wasn't quite there, but you know, from going from 90 hours a week to nothing to being able to go back to 40 hours a week and then getting on skis, you think, oh, I'm making a comeback. And so week 5 comes in after the original compression, and I didn't realize how severe my circumstance was. I didn't realize my skull was sitting on top of my atlas all the way compressing to C5. And my hypothalamus was severely compressed, a midbrain compression with no relief. But I was still walking, talking. I had double vision and some mild concussion symptoms that disappeared over 4 or 5 weeks, like I said, and I got back on skis. So I decided in week 6 to take my 3-year-old daughter back to toddler time gymnastics. This is something we did. And I was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, let's do this. And we had so much energy and we had so much fun. And I was jumping off of everything, bouncing off of everything, flipping and doing all these things that I hadn't done for a long time, not realizing I was still fully compressed and everything was getting rattled with every movement. So toddler time comes to an end. The kids get asked to come get their stamps. And I tell my partner I'm going to be doing one more flip into the foam pit, but this time I'm not going to be using the trampoline. I'm just going to do a nice front flip because I was achieving a lot that day. And that was a mistake. That whole day was a mistake. I didn't know. And I ended up getting a diffuse TBI, blacking out in the air from another non-impact. And this one was from acceleration, and the other one was from deceleration. And that completely changed my life. I ended up being a bystander in everything, from a parent to a restaurant owner to a partner, a family member, and a community member. And it happened overnight. I had 17 symptoms that were undiagnosed, untreated, for about 2 years, because doctors were like, "It'll get better. Wait, and you're looking good." All these things, not knowing still that I was compressed. Eventually, I ended up seeing a functional neurologist in Vancouver, and he was able to separate all my ailments into all the symptoms into 4 ailments, which I was learning how to manage from year 2.5 till about year 6.5, 7, which is I'm at year 8 right now, year 8.5. So the first 2 years were really tough. I had to use cane and wheelchairs most of the time. I couldn't take steps. I had trouble with ramps. I wasn't able to lift anything over 5 pounds. I had proprioception, vestibular, you name it. Like it was pretty awful. I couldn't sit in cars. I couldn't walk even on like anything with a pattern. I couldn't look at anything with patterns. Everything would make me nauseous and sick. We used to live by train, and even like the train, the reverberation, the train would set off a whole bunch of symptoms. And most people would be like, "Oh, you had anxiety attack. Oh, you had a panic attack." It's like, no, I think you guys are trying to use words that are not truly describing what's happening here. So I kept going, and I kept researching, I kept studying, I kept doing everything. And I had to include so much into my life. Now, I was fortunate. Like I grew up in a Vedic Muslim household because we were converted a few hundred years ago in India. And my family was First Nation in India, so they still practice a lot of Vedic rituals and Dharma and Samadhi and all these ancient wisdoms. So I had that ingrained into me. But as a Muslim, I was not practicing the structured aspect of Islam. I was practicing more of the fluid biomimicry and omnimimicry of Sufism. So I was able to look at the world through the lens of the cosmos, through mono-reality, which I was taught. And so practicing meditation since I was 4 years old, using meditation in athletics for high achievement at both the local, national level, even provincial levels, achieving gold standard in many various interdisciplinary sports. So it was ingrained in me how to, you need discipline. You need to be grounded. You need to stay active, and meditation and all these things. So it's like I was applying all these things, and still I'm having lots of difficulties today. So I kept studying, I kept researching, and I came across a term called allostasis, and it's spelled ALLOSTASIS. And this concept is how our bodies and minds dynamically adapt to stress and maintain health and resilience. And this concept transcends traditional static views of health and draws on an ancient wisdom and visionary pioneers. So allostasis actually has its roots and foundations in traditional Chinese medicine, in ancient Egyptian healing practices involving sound and frequency, and Ayurvedic medicine in India, and a lot of ancient traditions. Actually, even in Buddhism, the entire Eightfold Path is about pain and suffering. And allostasis is how you track and monitor suffering, which is the wear and tear on the body. So it got put into some of these more modernary visionaries. And so when you look at the works of Ibn Sina or Avicenna, it describes like this fundamental holistic approach to integrating spiritual, energetic, and systemic views of the health that deeply influence our modern understanding today, because of some of the key pioneers. And I would like to thank them first before I say anything, because they're really integral about how I've developed into monitoring, tracking, and handling myself, and using so many tools that we all talk about and use, but we haven't actually pinned it on one thing. And the most interesting thing about allostasis is it's part of a coin. It's the other side of a coin. One side is homeostasis, which is the internal components, and allostasis is the internal adaptation. So it influences the yin and yang right into it. So it's very beautifully been coming together over the last 200 years, and we have to thank Rudolf Steiner, how he emphasized holistic integration of the body, mind, and environment, natural rhythms, and balance for health. Nikola Tesla revolutionized understanding of energy, resonance, and electromagnetic fields, which informs modern biofield science today. We have to include Victor Schauberger, Dr. Emoto, and Tommy Mercer, illuminating water as a living dynamic force essential to life, depending insight into philosophy, since our bodies are mostly water, which is a whole different discussion I'd like to talk about, because it talks about entraining and creating reoccurring patterns, which is found in all life in water, which is the medium in which everything is held and transferred through organisms, through the biofield. It's the language of the biofield, in my opinion. And they really showed us a lot about water and how important it is, which I've created a riddle saying, is there life in water or water in life? Other key figures that we have to include are William Reich, who taught us about bioengine energy, Bruce Lipton about epigenetics, and Rupert Sheldrake, that's about morphic fields, who broaden our view of biology's interaction with the environment and consciousness. Without their study, I wouldn't be here talking the way I am. And most importantly, the people that have coined the term. So the term allostasis was coined in 1988 by a neurologist, Peter Sterling, and sorry, my tongue is trying to act up. Epidemiologist Joseph Ear. They introduced it to advance beyond the idea of homeostasis, emphasizing that biological systems actively adjust and anticipate changing conditions rather than maintaining fixed states. They were studying psychological mechanisms underlying stress and adaptation, particularly how chronic stress permanently shifts the body's set points, contributing to disease. Their work reframed understanding how the brain and body maintain stability through change. So what is allostasis, right? So allostasis is the body's natural process of achieving stability through change. Unlike homeostasis, which aims to keep conditions constant, allostasis is about continual adaptation to internal and external stresses to maintain balance. When overwhelmed, these adaptive systems lead to allostatic overload, which underpins chronic illnesses such as autoimmune disease, mental health disorders, and heart disease. Managing allostasis is critical for true systemic wellness. So we always talk about trauma stress on the body, and what is stress and trauma, and how does it work with our body? So trauma and chronic stress are stored physically in muscles, the nervous system, and emotions, disrupting allostasis. The limbic system acts as a trauma respiratory, locking several survival responses in place. Healing requires releasing trauma through restorative yoga, somatic movement, and mindfulness, supporting nervous system regulation and body awareness. And when I've watched some of the podcasts that you guys done, you've talked about the importance of this self-regulation and rolls into more of that, the role of self-compassion also, and how that affects your HRV and some of the components. So what I've been doing in my research is looking at how technology and ancient wisdoms can be combined into creating a balanced state where coherence aligns with resonance. So I've come up with a eco suite of smart wearables that I'm going to be trialing, and it tracks and monitors all these different things. And I think we can talk about that in a different discussion. But yeah, I just wanted to open up like that and start the discussion on a word that 99% of the public isn't aware of. It's like saying yin and not knowing even yang. And it's also that 95% of people in the heal profession don't even know about this. So I wanted to talk about this because it truly affects our lives, our ability to manage, and to get into this flow state that we're all looking for. And it's really important to understand this. And furthermore, where the future is here, we can track it now. We can measure it now with the different devices and we can see how well the meditation affects your HRV, your metabolic rate, your aging. We can see how somatic movements affect it, how different foods. We don't need to spend millions of dollars and billions of dollars on trials to see if sour cherry concentrate is going to be effective. We now have wearables that can monitor it and track it. So when you're looking at living soils and organic foods that help create volatile organic compounds that help contribute stimulating the endocannabinoid system, that help work with reducing stress, and you compound that with meditation and somatic movements and solfeggios, and even further take it to Dinshaw and apply all color therapy, which we're now getting into in this modern age. We start really hounding in on all the different aspects of what we can do. But that's overloading our system for most laymen. Is like, where do I start? What do I do? So I think it's best now if you reverse engineer it and you start with the wearables and you slowly introduce things and see how they're all slowly coming together and allowing you to grow naturally by understanding your external and internal components of all aspects. Because at the end of the day, our thoughts create our experience. And if we're able to make sure there's a link, instead of our heart sending signals to our brain through unbalanced emotional intelligence, we center ourselves, ground ourselves with traditional knowledge and wisdoms and practices to create a loop that allows you to have gut-brain axis, brain-heart coherence, and aligning everything and tracking and monitoring to show this is not pseudoscience anymore, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. We all the stuff that we've been talking about, even the secret life of plants, they don't use HRV availability, but it's a geomagnetic biofield in every living creature. And you can actually use a different mechanism to see how allostatic load on plants by following the electronodes in certain aspects of plants. They don't have a nervous system, but they still have allostatic overload. So the secret life of plants talks about it. Scientists say it's pseudoscience, but we can measure it now. We can measure allostatic overload. So it's kind of like introducing the ninth path to the eightfold path. is like understanding stress, understanding pain and suffering. Where does it store? Limbic system. How do we work with it? Different types of meditation, somatic movement, self-compassion, watching your diet, being disciplined, but then also understanding you're part of a cosmos. Circadian rhythm is based on light because you're a light creature, but that light is also influenced by the moon. And our solar system is not the only sun. We have a galactical sun. We have a universal sun that belongs to multi-universes that come into the omniverse. And it's a loop, and it's fractal. That means it goes in both directions. So the pull is not only from light or sound. And that's why we have so many bodies in our quantum field, our higher self, that then manifests itself as a singular entity. And now we can track how this entity reacts to its environment and how it synchronizes and harmonizes with our cosmos. And it's a beautiful time, I think, and I really appreciate you guys allowing me to come here to talk about that. So now I'll leave it to the floor to continue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, well,
Wow. Mind
interestingly,
blown slightly. I've never. Jeremy, go on. Sorry.
well, actually, our subject we were going to talk about today, one of the subjects that we thought about was how trauma and, well, not even how trauma, how sometimes our life needs to be, sometimes, no, it doesn't need to be, but how sometimes life falling apart, so to speak, can actually be the beginning of a change. So it's kind of like where we have a part of our life that is kind of seems deconstructing. It's deconstructive. And with that, that's also part of what happens when we emerge new.
Absolutely. It's been like I do a lot of oracle card stuff around the moon, and the last 4 moon cycles, I've been pulling transmutation cards and mutation cards so that I can let go of my old self, which is my given name, and start my new life as the person that I am today. And what's more even beautiful about this story about aligning with the cosmos and everything I'm talking about is that I was born Libra, and the new moon in Libra was about this transmutation, was about this letting go of the old and reading on the new, and that new frequency and setting that path. And I want to remind people that this doesn't happen overnight, or it doesn't happen just all of a sudden. For some people, it can click because they're balanced. They don't know that they're balanced. So there's resonation and coherence happens immediately. But that's not true for all of us. So for me to get to this point in that meditation on the new moon of Libra and my birthday was just a few days before, it took 2 years of waking up at 4 a.m, meditating with the sun, watching the moon rises and the moon sets, being mindful and grateful at high noon. And, and I didn't do it. Like I was probably disciplined 200 out of 365 days. We're human. But you get back on track, you go off track, and the more you have this repetition, the more coherence, the more the wave pattern is recognized and is reoccurring. It becomes natural behavior, and it just serendipity just starts happening in your life. They call it magnetism or law of attraction, but I think it's a reoccurrence in the pattern. If you keep telling yourself over and over something, that's going into the quantum field. And that's what I mean. Your thoughts manifest into experience, not reality. In experience, there's only one reality. When we all go to a concert, we go to a single place with a single venue. The only thing that changes is not your perception, your experience. Because your thoughts create an emotion. That's back to this HRV. That emotion then is reflected back to you as an experience. So if you're going in with a certain emotion, you're going to receive that. And then sometimes we feel like we had that was like such an amazing concert. It's because our HRV, everyone has a heart and it's at 0.1 hertz. and that hertz it radiates outwards. And when we're blocked with electromagnetic fields of our industrial lives and concrete jungles, that shrinks to about 1 meter, 3 feet. But when you're out in nature, your feet are in the sand, you've got 7.83 hertz running through you, Schumann's resonance, you're meditating, you're trying to connect with 4.3, something happens, right? You're in there, you're connected. And yeah, it's really important that we learn how to communicate this, and we can do this when we do this in meditation, and that coherence, it goes, what you're doing is you're linking a chain. And that's why we see right now so many more people building up, because everyone's starting to do this ascension, and slowly building up and rising. Another way you can really see someone's heart rate variability and that's coherent is that when they walk in a room, everyone's head turns. So you know that individual is working far beyond that 1 meter range. That individual is probably exercising, meditating, watching what they eat, watching what they watch, disciplined with their tongue for the most. And you'll notice that heart, wow, like look who's here. And everyone turns. But at the same time, if someone angry walks in the room, or two people that are fighting walk in the room, everyone's like, oh, watch out. You can feel it. You can feel it. And it can go up to 60 feet. And so I also been doing some research on quantum healing, and seeing how the heart rate variability, how much it changes based on the electromagnetic field you're in.
Okay, wonderful. You know, Alister, thank you so much for sharing your experience, because you've been through a huge transformation and you're continuing to go through that, you know, clearly. And thank you for bringing this concept of allostasis to our attention as well. I mean, interestingly, Mason was mentioning just before we came on that he thought the mind-body connection would be a good thing to talk about as well. And Jeremy mentioned we were talking about, you know, breakdowns and possibly becoming breakthroughs. So you've kind of brought all of those threads together for us today. So, do you know, one question that I would, and I'm glad that heart rate variability as well. So, so the assumption that I'm having here is that, you know, the more kind of steady our heart rate is, the kind of more in resonance we are, the more kind of healthier that we'll tend to be. And that things like meditation are going to support that. I think maybe some of our viewers might be wondering, okay, well, if I don't have the wearables, maybe I'm not particularly very techie kind of person yet. You know, there'll be people who are really interested in that stuff. But what would be maybe, say, like maybe your core practices that you've discovered over your journey that have really supported you?
Oh, okay. Actually, oh, I wrote a list actually, but let me see. Okay, so the first thing I want to know that when you're tracking and monitoring allostatic overload, you're actually monitoring and tracking oxidative stress. And oxidative stress occurs when free radicals outnumber the antioxidants, damaging cells and contributing to allostatic overload. So I've been introducing different things into my life. So nutrient-rich antioxidants are really important. So when I start my day, I have intermittent fasting first, because that really helps with reducing oxidative stress and free radicals from the body. Also, another thing that I do is when I break my fast, I always make sure I do about 5,000 steps before I break my fast, or I do a circuit that uses grease the groove technique, which is entrapment of the nervous system. So when you're training your body, you're also training your mind. This is very important. And grease the groove is a newer form of exercise, and you can apply it to anything from running to aerobics to circuit training to strength training. So as a person with chronic post-concussion, multiple forms of dysautonomia, and clinical insomnia that comes from those, I use Grease the Groove right now for many aspects. So if I wanted to do for weight training, for example, I would not go straight into doing reps. It's first just holding the weight and walking around. It's funny how the brain is trained. If you pick up something small that's heavy, your brain is going to say it's heavy, even though it's not that heavy. If there's something big and light, you're going to be like, oh, that's really light. That's actually the nervous system. Right? So when we train the nervous system with this Grease the Groove technique, and there's lots of neuroscience and podcasts about it, you start developing it and training the nervous system. Another thing that I do for my smoothie is adaptogens. So I put alma in my smoothies as it helps with vitamin C and energies. And then I also put ashwagandha in my smoothie. And that's supposed to help reduce and calm the nervous system. I also make sure that I have a diet that is based out of food for the most part. So, but if you have ailments and you're dealing with other stuff, you have to sometimes use supplements. But I'm also a fourth generation restaurateur and chef, formally and classically training. So I do a lot of self-research on nutrition as an athlete and as a disabled athlete and as a master's athlete. So I re-engineered how to eat so that it looks at 4 immutable markers. So the immutable markers are your genetics, your blood type, your age, and your gender. And what happens is that will determine how the rest of your diet. So I look at vitamin D and potassium. And if you look at a holistic approach to getting these into your diet through food, you end up getting 80 to 90% of your nutritional needs and your bioactive compounds to stimulate epigenetics.
Well, sorry, can I ask what was it you said you put in your smoothies? You said it was, I didn't quite
Alma, ashwagandha, and those are the 2 adaptogens I put in there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then hemp hearts. They have the best fat formulation for your brain, vitamin D, all the essential amino acids. I also eat about 120 grams of pumpkin seeds because they give you enough elemental magnesium to deal with oxidative stress. It's about 400 milligrams. And it also comes with zinc, protein, and all the fats that you need. So I was like, wow, there's all these magnesium supplements. And I was taking pills because I didn't know where to get it. And then I fell into this one smoothie shop and I asked the lady to explain to me, why is there so many magnesium? And then I said, what's this one? She goes, this is elemental. So when I researched it, I'm like, what has elemental magnesium, which is the fundamental thing that all these magnesiums are derived from? Pumpkin seeds. I'm like, wow, that's such easy to eat half a cup of pumpkin seeds throughout the day. It's not hard at all, actually. And then organic dark chocolates have a really good effect on the endocannabinoid system because they help increase the anandamides.
That's good news. That's good
news.
Yeah,
anandamides and
let's hear that.
Yeah, so and it has to be like 80% or higher to really, and no sugars. So organic chocolates about 80% or higher. And anandamides are so crucial, and that's why leafy greens are so crucial in our diet, especially the dark leafy greens. And that's why kale and spinach and chard have such big impacts on our gut-brain axis and how we access the endocannabinoid system, because they build these anandamides. When you have lots of anandamides in the system, you're able to then carry things to the endocannabinoid system. And when you have volatile organic compounds and high terpenes from organic soils and living soils and everything, what you're doing is you're alerting the endocannabinoid system to let it know what it needs to come out to recept these anandamides. So it's like when you go to Asia, they have all these food trucks, but they're like little bicycles, and they all have a different sound. And each sound will tell the people what's coming, and then they come out for that. It's exactly how the endocannabinoid system works with anandamides. It goes into your digestive tract, it latches onto an anandamide. The anandamide then takes it to the endocannabinoid system. And this is One of the pathways is there's many pathways in the endocannabinoid system. We haven't studied it all. So what I'm talking about is just one of the pathways, but it's important that anandamides are brought into the focal point of how it works with the endocannabinoid system.
So there's a lot with diet and
100%. Epigenetics is at the core of it. How you deal with stress is your gut-brain axis, and when you have the right flora, you're eating the right foods, you're creating a microbiome that is beneficial for epigenetics. And these are little toggle switches that help you access DNA that's not active because of your lifestyle. And when you start activating those DNA through epigenetics, you're now becoming more resilient because you have access to things, because you now are able to support your biome and your microbiome. And remember, life on this earth started 2.3 billion years ago because of the union of biotic and abiotic. Adam and Eve is actually a story of abiotic Adam and biotic Eve, two genomes coming together endosymbiotically. Oops, my phone is about to die. And creating life through air. And if you look at the Quran and you look at the word Eve, which is Hava, it's basically air. So the conversion of oxygen into ATP, which created all life. That's where it came from. So biome and microbiome is very important, and abiotic parts of that biome is necessary. So the food we eat is carriers of that abiotics. So getting it through synthetics doesn't work because it doesn't have the natural compounds. It doesn't have those things. So that it's really important to understand food and how it plays a big role. And then that can allow you to be more grounded, but everything's in cycles. So you're like, what do I do first? It's like, you have to create a pattern for your lifestyle. It's not about where you start. It's about starting slowly. Like Grease the Groove is about starting slowly and then putting something into your cycle so that it fits your routine.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about your journey, from being super healthy, very entrepreneurial, very successful, very connected person, to being, you've gone through a real transformation, haven't you? Because there must have been times when, I'd love to bring Mason in on this as well, because I've not really heard from you today, Mason, there must have been times when you just thought, I'm never going to get out of this, or there must have been some pretty stuck moments for you, I would imagine.
Yeah. Still now, to be honest.
Yeah.
I am very under-resourced. I'm on PWD. So everything I do, all my research is because I have time. And because I have time, I'm able to do independent research and test and trial all these things. So for me, I don't think it's me doing it. I just feel like I'm a Codex bridge walker, because in my meditations, I tap into different areas of knowledge that's available. We have to remember that we haven't lost anything. It's just been forgotten. And it's starting to become alive today, because we're starting to create that pattern of remembrance. And sessions like this are critical for helping push that forward in a natural way through ebb and flows.
Yeah.
It's been really tough. It's been really tough, because doctors are saying they can't do anything unless I take heavy meds. And I'm like, no, our body wasn't designed for this. So it's taken me 8 years to get to here. I have a lot of still challenges ahead. Right now, I'm actually going through administrative hearing, which is very stressful. I don't have counsel. I'm actually getting a petition based on introducing allostasis. Medical privacy was breached. and there's no equal or equal access to justice for me. I have no counsel, don't have access to counsel, unable to get counsel. So I've really had to understand and show and track harm. That's why I was able to create this eco suite of wearables, is more to show that everyone has allostatic overload in our society, because everyone has some sort of autoimmune mental illness or chronic illness, which is an inner conflict externalizing itself, right? And either you're externalizing it through anger, violence, or being dysfunctional, or if you're trying to not do that stuff, and you're holding and you're being compassionate to others and everything, even though you're going a hard time and you're being kind, it's going to externalize as disease or chronic illness. You can't get away from it. This is a sector.
Tools, in a way, that kind of, the sort of global breakdown. We are seeing a bit of a. Certainly feels like there's a global breakdown going down on. So I think you've given us a new way of thinking about it. It feels like an allostatic crisis that's going on.
That's right.
Because we've been living so out of line with our nature.
Yeah.
For so long. But then the dark times that you've gone into, and from what you're saying, you're still going through something quite challenging.
Yeah.
Is like the returning of the light. Because without going into, if everything was just, I guess if your restaurant business was just going great and you're fit and strong and everything, and then you wouldn't really have done the research and you wouldn't be talking about these things. So,
that's right.
Which is the whole yin and yang thing again as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I think there was a silver lining in all of it. And yeah, it's quite, I feel blessed actually, that I've been part of this journey. It's been an eye-opener. It's when people see me going through my stuff, they're like, wow. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not angry or mad how people are behaving, because our society doesn't train people to deal with this. Our heal profession doesn't even know it exists. So how can we be angry and mad? Why would I be angry and mad at someone that is unaware, or not? That's not how it works. So we can't go protesting about it. We can't be striking or be dysfunctional about it. So you have to be functional. You have to be critical thinkers, and so that you have to bring it to the attention and bring groups together so that you create a commons around it. And that's what I'm actually actively doing right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what also strikes me is that if allostasis was beginning to be written about in sort of the 1980, I think you said 1988, something like that. Okay, so,
yeah.
And generally, it's a strange thing, but anything new takes about, anything that's novel, let's say, takes about 60 years to sort of enter into the mainstream, roughly, it seems. So, that's about 38 years. So there's probably you're ahead of the curve with this. Probably in about 20 or 30 years, everybody will be like, allostasis, we know about that.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to fast track it because right now it's affecting everyone in the world. Yeah. And especially, there's so many documentaries about it. There's so many self-help books and self-development books. With all these millions of books, there's not one book on allostasis.
Oh, wow. I'd never heard of it until
and then when you look at allostasis and nutrition, it's like a whole different thing. And it's like, wow, this is like, so I was like when I wanted to talk about it today, I had some written subject matter written so that I can, talk about it constructively before having a little bit of a free talk about it.
I think it's very, very useful for people because it opens up a new way of thinking about our general well-being, both physical and spiritual, that maybe wasn't available for us.
And honestly, these wearables are like, you can get it on a ring, you can get it on a band, you can get it from a watch. My EcoSuite's like fully complete because I have to track harm to bring it to the issue of government and reform. So mine has an earpiece that tracks cerebral flow and the bioelectromagnetics going through here through ECG. And then I have a band that's arriving soon called Hume. And Hume Health also has a scale that is almost like a DEX scan. So it gives you full body composition, your water, your metabolic rate, your age, all this stuff. And then I'm also getting ultra human air ring. That's going to also be able to use in water, sauna, steam. So actually, this is a great entry point. HRV. So when I was not able to walk, not able to do anything, I had dysautonomia. It was so bad that if I was standing on a corner of a street in Vancouver that was on an angle, my heart rate would go from resting 54 to 180 to 100 to 120 to 7. It would be jumping every 10 seconds. And it's like, and during that time, you're getting all these dumps of electrical and hormonal and chemical trying to react to it because it's new. And it was like, it's like, wow. And some days you'd feel like you're getting a rush of like, and you're like, and then full sweats. And it was like, wow, this is crazy. So I ended up finding out a really cool technique that I want to share with everyone, and especially people that are dealing with cardiovascular disease that can't exercise but want to really work on their heart. And this also helps with HRV, is get a heart rate monitor, start building your nervous system in a sauna, steam, cold cycle. So I go into a steam first to absorb. It shouldn't be too hot because you want to be taking on the water. It's a hydrotherapy cycle that really works with HRV. You build it up so that your heart, you can start feeling it and it's going faster. And you have to watch it. That's why you need, at the beginning, you really need a heart rate monitor. And you take it to about 80% of your maximum heart rate that your doctor says. And you want to hold it there. Once it starts going up, you get out straight into the cold. Now, there's lots of scientific research on cold in armpits to bring down the nervous system, but I find cold all over. And at first it's hard, but you're slowly building your nervous system. After you go in that cold, you sit and you rest and you make sure your heart rate comes back to resting. Once it's back to resting, you go to the sauna, drink lots of fluids, sweat. So now you're triggering your body under stress, but it's a controlled environment for stress. And then once your heart starts getting to that 80%, you hold it, make sure it doesn't get to 90, come out back in the cold, come down, rest, watch it. And then you keep doing these cycles. Eventually, right now, I'm up to 3 cycles for 2 hours and up to 30 minutes in the sauna. So it's building my nervous system, building so you can handle stress, watching the heart rate, building that. So now, and it's really improved. For the first time in my life, I was in the forest meditating. I was actually doing a protection meditation with Archangel Michael. And I turned around in my meditation and it said that everything's going to be downloaded into the cellular level, divine light, protection, and courage. And the test came. There's large branches all of a sudden crackling in the woods. And I go, that's a large animal. I quickly gather my things. That's coming straight at me. So now the nervous system, parasympathetic flight, or freeze, is being tested with someone dysautonomia that's been training the last year through Grease the Groove and everything. And it's like, do I run? No. Do I hide? No. Wait for the bear, startle it. So I waited for the bear, I startled it, it got scared. I startled it so badly, it jumped onto a log that was down, defecated, was shaking while it was staring at me, and then I gave it one more warning and it ran away. I was still full adrenaline, didn't know where to, it was like, okay, what now next, right? Because it ran, but what is it going to turn back? I have no idea. And so I go down and I'm like, nope, you got to go up. Can't go. You got to get higher ground, get up to the higher ground, make my way out. Okay, we're good now. So that was a test of a year of working with somatic movements, neurofeedback, bone conducting headphones to stimulate the cerebral fluid in your head with binaural beats and left-right harmonization, arch HRV harmonization. And wow, I was able to get through that moment. So and the adaptogens and the smoothies, I think my brain was able to go through that moment. So it's impressive. But with my administrative hearing, when we had a management hearing on Friday, gave him the warnings, told them I needed accommodations, said that all these things. They didn't do it. I wasn't able to hold my composure. I'd warned them that I'm going to be triggered if you're and I did trigger. I recorded the whole event. It's going to be in my documentary that shows that how allostasis affects different demographics, including people that are disabled, and how the legal system is even more stressful for self-represented litigants, and they don't have the proper protections in Canada or the world. So it's creating a gold standard. But I've been blessed that I've been able to do research, fallen into these things, so that I can track and monitor all these things. And yeah, it's incredible. I can't believe this is happening in Canada to me. What happened to me in that hearing on Friday, I felt like I was in China and in a witch hunt. Even in China, they know the person's going to jail, but they give them a lawyer. So it was really, really, really tough situation, especially when you're under false light pretenses. They hadn't done a full investigation, and your investigation finds the administrative office offside themselves, to creating the biggest harm to the Canadian public. And it's like, whoa, hold on, guys. So
But
yeah, that's
more challenges come. So you know, you're still in the middle of those challenges, I guess. And,
yeah.
you know, but what a story! What a story! And a very important concept that's been brought to our attention, and hopefully to more people, more people's.
Yeah.
And my assumption would be that you help other people who are going through similar situations. Do you?
Well, a few years ago, I decided to start a small men's group within my friends, because I was like, I know so many people between 45 and 55, and the mental health crisis is on the rise. Like, we can't deny, we can't. It's not deniable. There's so much going on, and so I started sending positive affirmations to people, to do a little um, meditations with the moon, meditations with the sun, masculine energy, also stuff for self-compassion, gratitude, and just little memes that will remind you that you're a person, you're human, and you're alive. And that's gone a long way. And now we've got a core of like 7, 8 individuals that are always there for each other all the time, and supporting each other through all of our trials and tribulations. So it's nice. And I also help physicians that I'm working with to introduce them to these new concepts, these new ideas, that so they understand that this isn't pseudoscience anymore. And so that's been, as a Kodesh Bridgewalker, what I've been doing. And I'm in the middle of writing a lot of content, and I'm going to be having this content available through nonprofit portals, and such as this. Yeah, it's important. It's important, I think, to share this knowledge.
I was wondering, Alister, if you'd be willing to share with us today meditation.
Oh,
Might be too on the fly, but is there a meditation that you'd like to guide us through?
so I was hoping that I would be guided today in the meditation. Since I've been doing most of the talking, I would
You know, I've
feel
because
the energy.
you really have put a lot of energy. You've put so much energy into presenting today. So maybe, yeah, maybe that does feel like the right thing to do. So maybe maybe we can just.
What about Mason? Mason, are you from? Have I seen you here in Courtney by the chance?
Um, I'm not sure. It's nice to meet you now,
Yeah,
Alistair, but
I
I'm
think
not.
I've met you in the sauna in Comox Valley, maybe perhaps if you visited there.
I haven't
There's
been to that
oh,
one. No,
okay.
no. Yeah, happy to meet you
Must be
there and
someone
hang out
your
sometime.
doppelganger.
Yeah, some good-looking guy out there.
Yeah.
I'm happy to meet you there one time and hang out. There's yeah, I mean, it's just that I made a bunch of notes while you were talking. It was kind of inspiring to hear you talk about these type of topics. It seems like you've got the right amount of passion to get this kind of through along the veins that you're trying to get it through. So it's cool. I mean, I feel so far resonant with you, like want to join the band, want to join the crusade, like feels valuable. Yeah. Um, yeah, I made a ton of notes on things we could talk about or notes while you were talking and things I'd love to come back to. I really hope you're going to come back and join us. I really hope we could follow up, spend more time together, or just hear more of your ideas. Like super cool,
Absolutely.
super lovely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I'd love that.
yeah. Super. That'd be awesome. I'm happy to keep chatting now. I'll just check in with time with you, Mike, and I'd be happy to maybe lead a short meditation because Mike's right. You did put
Uh,
in beautiful energy to this group
well,
today.
well, we're sort of coming up to. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes till the hour, and we're so and well, we have a Alistair. We stop live streaming around about 40 minutes to an hour, and then we continue with a sort of half hour, 40 minute private chat. We've had some people come and join us they're already here in the background listening, and then we can have a private chat. So I wonder, should we finish the live stream with a meditation? Christian, do you fancy it? Mark, I did it again. Mason, would you
Yeah,
like to?
Yeah.
I keep doing that. I keep calling you
yeah,
Christian.
yeah. That's okay.
So
I don't know. It's
sorry.
fine. It's
Um,
well, just it's fine. Yeah, just let
do
that
it.
happen and
Do
don't
it.
feel guilty about it.
I do. It's a terrible habit of renaming people. Do you want to
Yeah,
do that, Mason?
yeah, sure. We're gonna rewire those neural circuits so that you get my name
Good luck.
right, brother.
Good luck. Good luck with those neural circuits in this head. Yeah.
It just rubs my hands together for that job. Okay. Yeah, sure. So happy to kind of sit with us for a meditation for a moment and yeah, happy to lead one because also your voice sounds a bit down, Mike. I don't know if you're tired or not feeling well or just hope
I've
you're okay
I've got
or
COVID.
oh man. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Slight bummer.
Mm.
Slight bummer. Okay. Well, anyway, okay. Um hopefully you feel better. Hopefully you recover quick. And
I'm sort of on the other end of it now. It's kind more. It's just kind of leaving. It's yeah.
mhm. Okay, so from a transition, I suppose, sorry, yeah, hopefully you're better. Mike. From a transition from what we were talking about, I guess, from what Alistair was saying, what you guys were kind of discussing into, we'll just go into the present moment, and then from that, anyone that wants to join us can. But let's just try to sink into the present moment and see what comes up and try to ground ourselves for this for now. And we'll just try to
Yeah.
see how this feels,
Yeah.
see where this leads. Um, I think it's okay to allow if you're paying attention this whole time, maybe you could just allow some things that Alistair, Mike, and Jeremy said to sink in, or if you want to reflect on those for a few moments, or if you just want to jump into your heart space, to your body space, to a healthy mind space, just for the sake of it, just because we can, and just because it's lovely to practice that together. I like to practice it with all of you while we're together. And perhaps a few moments together will prepare you for the next part of your day with whatever you're going to do. And so, with that said, I'll invite you to get comfortable, as we always do. And I'll invite you to just begin noticing what it is that's coming up for you right now. I'll invite you, while things are coming up, to just notice your ability to notice that which is coming up. Perhaps it's your polished skill. Perhaps it's easy right now. Perhaps it's tricky right now. But if we just allow what it is that's happening in this present moment to happen, and no matter what it is, we want to invite it into some calmness, into some stillness. I got a little impassioned by what we were talking about. And so I want to hold that as it comes up in my mind. I want to hold it in my heart, as well as bringing calmness and stability to that which I was thinking about, to that which we were talking about. I want to bring a calmness and a strength to the energy that was created during this podcast that perhaps some of you feel right now. And remember, everything can be loved. Everything can be loved. So whatever your process is in this present moment, try to notice and accept the integration. Try to just welcome what is into the present moment and sit with it. Try to invite whatever's on your mind and whatever's on your heart to join you and join us in 3 to 4 to 5 deep breaths as we pay a little more attention to the silence and the stillness of this present moment and our breath. So this is invitational, but try to take in a deep breath through the nose and feel your belly expand and allow the breath to flow out naturally. And in a circular motion, try to take another deep breath in through your nose and try to feel your belly expand a little more, your chest expand. Feel that rising. And allow the breath to fall out of your mouth naturally. And take another breath in through the nose, a little deeper. Hold it a little longer. And this time, just gently push your breath out a little more. Empty your lungs and feel that sink into your seat. Feel your shoulders drop and hold it at the bottom. And again, take a deeper breath. Pay attention to your shoulders rising, your neck straightening. Pay attention to your bum and your seat. Allow that breath then to flow outwards, out of you. Feel the tension releasing as you breathe out, as you exhale. Take another deep breath with awareness. Breathe in with awareness. Listen to what your body says to you as you take these breaths. Listen to what your body's saying to you as your breath leaves your body. And now allow your breathing to return to normal. Allow your body to sit in this present moment. Try to invite this stillness into the rest of the day with you. Try to feel the sense of homeostasis in this moment, if you can, what that means to you. Try to understand homeostasis as a stillness. Try to understand it in the yin to the yang of the allostasis that we were talking about. Try to get comfortable to understand one in order to understand the other. this is a topic you want to expand into. So just by catching a glimpse of this stillness, I invite you to give yourself one embracing hug internally, externally, from your heart, from your mind, and try to bring some of that with you as you return to the present moment, as we get ready to depart, as we get ready to walk down our own paths again for the rest of the day. It was beautiful to come together to meet at this axiom. I know we have our own jobs to do, things we want, and destinies to fulfill today. But I hope that this moment of stillness can help you through your day. And with that, we can close this group how we see fit. And before we do, I would love to know how each of you are doing just in this moment before we go.
Grounded. Thank you.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad, Alister. Jeremy, how do you feel?
Yeah, I feel grounded and I feel the hug still,
Mm.
the loving hug.
Warm and tingly for sure.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Hope it can last throughout the week. I hope we can bring that more energy when we come back together next weekend. We'll see. And how do you feel, Mike?
Oh, it's beautiful, yeah. So that's really, much more centered, kind of dropping from the head into the heart space. It's beautiful, very, very lovely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Well, even if you rise out of this space again today, or you come in and out of this space, I thought it's worth it to, just as Alistair was saying, you just come into this mind-body connection, you start to pay attention to all these functioning things. It's I don't know. Yeah. I had in mind what you were saying today during that. So
very
anyway.
lovely.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right,
Great, guys.
so we're gonna click off live streaming now. Say so goodbye to everybody who's watching us live on YouTube, and we will see you
everybody.
again next Sunday. And if you did want to join in with a private conversation with us and Alister, where you can go to Courses for Spirits. So Courses, COURSES Spirit.ca, and just if you go to workshops, you just click on the link that says Zoom, and you'll just jump straight into the Zoom. Okay, so let's